Welcome to today's webinar, Accessing, Understanding and Preparing for the NDIS. Your presenter today is Pamela Williams and I'm your facilitator, Nicola Graham. So we like to start all of our programs with an acknowledgement. So we acknowledge and pay respect to the traditional custodians, past and present, on whose lands we meet today. And we acknowledge the deep feelings of attachment and the relationship of Aboriginal people to country, and respect the cultural authority of the elders in each community. And it's with great pleasure that I introduce my work colleague, the fabulous Pamela Williams. Just a little bit of information about Pam. Pam's been working in disability case management for 16 years. She's had previous roles in MS, autism spectrum, CP, Parkinson's disease. Pam and I started at MS at around the same time, I think, Pam, didn't we? And,
yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that was in 2016. Pam started as the MS coordinator of NDIS supports, and in Jan 2019, she moved to her current role as team leader engagement. So in this role, Pam's supporting our engagement team to enable them to offer the best possible outcome to our clients wanting to enter the NDIS, and that's what we'll be talking about today. So at this point, I'm going to swap screens with Pam, and you'll be able to then see Pam's slides. So just one moment whilst we change.
Welcome everybody, and I hopefully can answer everybody's questions. If you've got any questions, as Nicola said, please type them into the box and we'll answer as many as we can. The webinar that we're doing today is Accessing, Understanding and Preparing for the NDIS, which is what we do in the engagement team every day. I'm very, very lucky because I've got a brilliant team of ladies that I work with, and a gentleman as well. And we have a lady in Sydney. There's 4 of us in Melbourne and 2 in Tassie. So we're all over the place, and everybody's got brilliant experience and very experienced in what they do. Okay, so first of all, what I'm hoping that you'll understand from today is understand a bit about the NDIS and how they work, understand how eligibility is determined, understand funding, reasonable and necessary supports, become familiar with the NDIS Access Request Form, and the 6 key areas of reporting to the NDIS. So the National Disability Insurance Scheme is a new way of providing funded supports and services to eligible people in Australia. Eligibility is around, you need to be aged under 65 years of age. Now, if you apply for NDIS prior to being 65, you are on NDIS for the rest of your life if that's what you want to do, as long as you actually apply prior to turning 65. Residency information, you need to be an Australian citizen, or they work on certain types of visas, etc. And to have an impairment, disability or condition that is likely to be permanent, meaning lifelong, and stops you from doing everyday tasks by yourself. That's their determination of disability. So this is about their funding decisions, this area here. And NDIS makes their funding decisions on you. To be able to be eligible for NDIS, you must have an unmet need for NDIS to offer you supports. So you can't just say, well, I feel like getting NDIS, so I'm going to do that. You must have a need that they would fulfill. So the reasonable expected informal supports is around your family and your friends, what supports they can offer. If you've got family and friends around you, NDIS like to know that they're offering you some supports and reasonable supports, but not going too much into their carer role. So they need to have a life as well, in effect. Value for money, NDIS like to work with things that are reasonably priced. So if there's an item that you need and there's one for say $300 and one for say $500, NDIS will generally go for the $300 one. Assistance to pursue your goals. All the funding and supports provided by NDIS must be in line with your personal individual goals and aspirations. It's really important that these goals are really broad and encompass all the supports you require, because everything that you want to have, all the supports and everything that you want in your plan, needs to be able to be linked to a goal. So you need to be able to say, I need this, and it's related to this goal, etc. Facilitate social and economic participation. It's important to ensure you do not become socially isolated, and that's something that's really important. NDIS can fund transport funding for you to access work or appointments or the local community, etc. They can also support you with support workers to take you to appointments or treatments, etc., if you need it. Effective and beneficial. To receive funding for services supports, NDIS need to know that that particular support will be effective and beneficial to your needs. So they need to understand how that is going to benefit you and what it's going to achieve towards your needs. And the most appropriately funded, NDIS will not fund supports that are available from another support provider. So say from the health system or the education system. So a lot of people you can get a chronic disease management plan or a mental health plan from your GP that's funded via Medicare. So NDIS won't fund sessions for that until you've used all of those. So, but quite often what happens is, like the mental health plan, for instance, now has 20 sessions, but previously it only had 10, and I'm not sure if it's going to stay at 10 sessions, but 10 sessions in a year is quite often not enough for people. So we can request for more sessions through NDIS, but they will only be funded once the Medicare sessions have been depleted. So ways to access NDIS: if you're already getting like disability services, NDIS will contact you directly. If you're new to that, disability funded services, you can contact NDIS and receive and complete an access request form, which needs to be completed by your health professional, or you can contact us at the engagement here at MS Connect, and one of our lovely team will provide individual step-by-step support all the way through. And this is what we do. We go through every step with you, and some people may be rejected, or NDIS will come back asking for more information. Our team can support you all the way with that. So that's what our team do, and we've got a brilliant team. The access request form is an important step in the determining of eligibility. So the access request form is something that needs to be completed by a health professional. So you need to take that along to your health professional, and then you lodge that with NDIS once it's completed by your health professional, with any relevant reports or assessments that you have that would be helpful towards your access to NDIS. So the engagement team support. So the engagement coordinator will provide support and advice to prepare for making an NDIS application. In this process, the engagement coordinator will support you to understand specific needs, your specific needs, and also understand what we need to do to help you. We start off by doing what we call a pre-planning, which is called My NDIS Access Request Information. And the reason we do this is because we find a lot of health professionals and say GPs and neurologists and people like that, They understand your disability, but they don't understand your everyday needs, your everyday symptoms and how they affect your everyday life. So we complete this schedule with you, which goes through a whole lot of questions around the information that NDIS need, and then you take that along to your health professional when you're completing your access request form, and that helps them with more information, and hopefully that will give you a better outcome. The NDIS Access Request Information Schedule support your health professional to complete. So that's just what I've all said already. NDIS, in the Access Request Form, there are 6 key areas that NDIS need information about, and the Engagement Coordinator will go step by step through that with you. So the 6 key areas that NDIS want to know about are your mobility, your communication, your social interaction, your learning, your self-care, and your self-management. So, with your mobility, we talk to you about, can you walk around your home and the community with ease? A lot of people, when they're walking around their home, they're leaning on walls or they're leaning on furniture and bouncing off walls. Do you have a lot of falls? Do you find that you have muscle weakness and your mobility is affected by your fatigue and your heat intolerance? These kind of things. So they're the kind of things that we would put in the pre-planning document with you. Your communication. Do you have speech or are your ability to write? Your ability to write. So a lot of people I find say that, because I have weakness in my hands, I can't write properly. Therefore, my writing is illegible. So things like that. These are things that we need to go through. Are you able to explain adequately what your needs are and what your disability, how your symptoms affect you, etc. A lot of people have issues with word finding and end up not talking at all because they feel uncomfortable with that. They're things that we try to take into consideration. Social interaction. Are you able to manage your emotions? Can you make friends and keep friends? Are you socially isolated? Are you able to maintain your role in the family? A lot of people struggle with these kind of things because of their symptoms, with their MS symptoms, etc. So these are things that we talk about as well. We also talk about learning. So is your cognition affected? Do you have difficulty remembering things? A lot of people struggle with all of these things. So these are things that we like to make clear in our pre-planning document so that it makes it much easier for the health professional to complete the ARF, the Access Request Form, so that hopefully, we're getting more of the points across to NDIS. Self-care. Are you able to shower independently, eat, dress, care for yourself? Do you have continence issues? Because we can organise a continence assessment through your plan, continence products. We can organise someone to clean your home and to do your gardening and also help with your laundry. A lot of people, one of the things that I find important is, having somebody help you or change the linen on your bed for you, because a lot of people are not able to do that. So these things are really, really important, and we try to make sure that this gets across to NDIS quite clearly. And then the last section is about self-management. Are you able to make decisions independently? And do you feel confident with that? Are you able to manage paperwork and your bills, etc., and your finances? A lot of people get very, very overwhelmed by that information, and it can be very, very difficult. So these are things that we try to get across as well to NDIS. So the need to get your access request form filled in correctly, because if it's not filled in correctly, a person could be deemed ineligible for NDIS. And it could be that it's not that you're actually ineligible. It could be that the form is not being filled in correctly, or there's not enough information in it. Quite often NDIS will come back asking for more information. We can appeal that if you're actually deemed ineligible and you're rejected. We can appeal that. It takes extra time and money. Sometimes they'll ask for like an OT report or something like that to help them to make, if you're going to appeal, etc. And it just causes a lot of stress. So that's why we try and get it right in the first place, so we don't have to put you through that, and it makes your experience and your journey to NDIS much easier. Common problems with the ARFs are often rejected because if there's no in the boxes where they saying you do not need support, where you actually do, where the focus is on the intervention rather than the deficit. And examples of deficit are not included. So, like we need to make sure there's examples in there saying, I fall over because, I've got foot drop or whatever, just so that we can make it very, very clear of why you need these supports, etc. And when the focus is not on an MS bad day. So we try to talk more about that, because a lot of people have bad days and there's not enough detail in the situations. But the MS coordinators, we can help you if you are rejected. That's just what I was saying before. Sometimes NDIS, once you've applied for NDIS, once they look at the ARF, they will quite often come back and ask for more information. So we can help you determine what's been actually lodged with them and what more we can do to sort of try and get you across the line with your access. Supporting evidence, these are some of the documents that could be helpful with getting you access to NDIS. So it's always really good to get as many supporting letters from health professionals as you can, like physio assessments or OT assessments, and a report from your neurologist and maybe a psychologist, etc. So they're always really helpful. Handy hints. So symptoms fluctuate. Consider your ability to manage everyday tasks on a bad MS day. So just think about when you're having a really bad day, about how the heat affects you or how you struggle to sort of move around at home, etc. Those kind of things are really, really important. And the program's designed to help you lead an ordinary life and be able to do everything and be as independent as possible, which is really, really important. And many people with multiple sclerosis don't realise what they actually struggle with every day, because a lot of people have strategies that they use around their particular issues, because that's just what they do without even realising half the time. They put strategies in place to help them, and we need to make sure that we get those across to NDIS. And consider your hidden symptoms such as fatigue, cognition, incontinence, etc. If you're deemed ineligible, we can help you to appeal or complete a new application. We can do all that with you. Some of the barriers. So moving goalposts, that means more around NDIS move the goalposts as they go along. Quite sometimes it depends on who at NDIS is looking at your application. Some people will look at it differently to others, etc. inexperienced planners, which we have, inexperienced local area coordinators. And that's why it's really good when you're working with these people if one of our team is supporting you, because we would support you with all of those meetings, etc., to make sure that everybody gets the supports that they actually need and make sure that they're allocated the appropriate supports. And there is a high turnover of planners and LACs. So there you go. That was very quick. Sorry. Are there any questions?
Hi, Pam. Yes, there are a few questions, and also just want to flag that online today, one of our participants, Alana, has indicated that she's actually an NDIS planner. So if we do ask some questions and Alana's got some extra information, then I'd certainly invite you, Alana, to pop in any extra info if you can. So Pam, I'll just read out some of the questions that we've got, okay? And at the same time, invite people to type in some of their questions as well. So Gail is indicating that she has been working with Pauline in your team, who she's loved working with. Yep. She said she's been really kind and helpful. And she had her GP fill in the ARF and now she's done some work with Pauline. So obviously her GP filled in the ARF before Gail started to work with Pauline. Should she get her GP to redo that ARF? Now Gail has got a little bit more information and knows how to complete that ARF a bit better to better get the support she needs. Can she review that?
She can. It might be better to talk to Pauline about that and share the actual ARF that's been completed at this stage, because Pauline will be able to tell you whether it is likely to be accepted or not. You might not need to go through that, but Pauline will be able to tell you whether you're better off to just go with that one or whether you're better off going back. I take it Pauline's done pre-planning with you at this stage. So she would be able to tell you whether you're better off taking your pre-planning to your GP and getting them to complete a new one. So it would depend on the information that's in the one that the GP has done already.
Okay. Gail saying that Pauline did say it was very scant, but again, Gail, I think go back to Pauline and work out your next steps, because she's across your
I would suggest then if that's what Pauline has said, I would suggest that you do that, because Pauline's very switched on, knows what's going on, and she's doing this all day, every day, so she really understands what needs to be in there.
Great, thanks, Pam. And then I've got a question here saying, I understand the NDIS is changing next year. Will this advice still be relevant then?
Well, my understanding is that they're talking about going into independent assessments next year, but the plan is that that's not happening until mid-2021, so mid next year, and that advice is changing daily. So at this stage, I'm really not sure. Like, we don't know. As I said, things are changing daily. They put out some more information yesterday. So we're just going to have to wait and see, because we really don't know what they're going to do at this stage.
Okay, great. Okay, I've got a few more questions here. Elizabeth is saying that she applied twice, got rejected twice. It was very stressful, made her feel like she was not disabled enough, even though she has difficulties getting to activities and is prone to falls. Her ARF was not filled in by a health professional, but it did have a lot of details. And I guess Elizabeth is asking, is it worth her trying again after being rejected twice? Okay.
Absolutely, because what we find is if it wasn't completed by a health professional, NDIS probably wouldn't have taken any notice of it, because that's what is important to them. And if you haven't had pre-planning already, I would suggest that you get pre-planning with one of our team, and they would be able to help you to make sure that your access request form is better completed if possible. Yeah, so that's, yeah, I wouldn't give up. We have quite a few people who come to us saying, I've been rejected and, you know, it's too much for me, I'm overwhelmed and I can't cope. And we always say, don't give up, we'll continue to work on it, we can help you, we can support you, and we can hold your hand all the way until you're actually accepted. Like most of the time, we are able to get our people accepted. So don't give up by any means.
And so if Elizabeth contacts you via the MS Connect number, Pam, that would be a way that she could access support. And we'll give you that number. Great. Hayley's got a question here. She's a New Zealander. She's worked full-time in Australia and has done for 5 years, but does she have access? Is she eligible? She's not a citizen.
No, well, it depends on the visa. Now, I'm not sure of what visas are what, because that's not sort of an area that I know a lot about, but it depends on the visa that she's here under. So she could ring NDIS and check that with them. That's what I would suggest, because I know that if you're not a citizen, they will work with people on certain visas, but I'm not sure what those visas are.
Okay, thanks, Pam. Kate's asking, where do I get the application form from?
The ARF is on the NDIS website. You can download it. If you wanted to do it yourself, that's fine. You can download it from the website.
So you just go to the NDIS website? To
the NDIS website, and if you type in Access Request Form, it will take you straight to the link.
Great. Christina is saying, I'm on the waiting list to get an MSL engagement team member allocated to me. Can you let me know how long the waiting list is?
Can I contact Christina personally about that?
Yes, absolutely. If I'll give you Christina's email details.
That would be great. Okay. That's fine. If I just have Christina's name, I can check on the wait list and just see where she is in the wait list. Because Beautiful. We provide a brilliant service, we have a lot of people on our wait list currently, unfortunately, but the team are working as hard as they can, and we are getting to clients as quickly as we can. Unfortunately, we do have a bit of a wait list at the moment.
Great. So Christina will get back to you, and Pam will get back to you and let you know exactly where you are on that wait list. Kate has said she's also been knocked back, and you know, she'd encourage Elizabeth to try again. Absolutely. We don't suggest anybody give up, because, you know, sometimes it takes waiting a little while before you apply again, but we always support people to apply, because, you know, everybody needs the supports that they need. And Alana, our participant, who's also an NDIS expert, has also added that she would encourage people to reapply. She said, my advice is to appeal or have an advocate help you. So hang in there, Elizabeth, be persistent by the sounds of it. I'm just seeing if we've got Kate's also saying she was also rejected, the implication that she was not disabled enough, and she worked with somebody in our team, and although she felt she didn't have the strength to try again. So I'm not quite sure where you're at with that, Kate. If you'd like to give us a bit more information, or let me know if you would like us to follow up with you, then please type in and let me know. Courtney's also indicating she's on the wait list and she'd love to know how long, and I'll pass that information on to Pam, Courtney. Yes. And that's all the questions that we've got at the moment. So I've got a couple of people to follow up with regarding wait times, and we'll get back to you on that. If anybody else has got any more questions, then let me know. Alana is also adding that from her knowledge and expertise, she'd suggest that people ask for a coordinator of support to assist with connections to local support services. Is that something that you would also suggest, Pam?
Yes. So one of the things that we would always do is request that, particularly for people with their first plan, asking for a support coordinator, because most people find that they don't know the local supports, etc. And we get quite a lot of people coming back to us, and very sadly, I get a lot of these people coming to me. They've had plans for like 9 months or something, and they've not been able to use any of their funding because they really don't know where to start. And I find that that's really sad. So I would suggest that everybody try to get a support coordinator in their first plan, particularly, and ongoing if possible, because they can help you find all your supports that you need, make sure they're supporting you appropriately, make sure that all the service agreements are in place correctly, and also what generally happens is once you get like 9 months into the plan, the support coordinator will help you to go through what's worked, what hasn't worked, what you need, what your needs are, if your needs have changed, etc. And then they will do a report to NDIS, and they will support you through that plan review, so that when you get to that plan review, your coordinator and yourself are very clear on what you're actually needing in your next plan. So it's really important to get that if you possibly can.
That's great. Thank you so much, Pam, and thank you, Alana, also for your input. Much appreciated. So, Pam, I'm just going to run through some housekeeping now. So, thanks for all your help and expertise, and we will get back to the people who asked about wait lists.
Yes.
And thanks for all the work you do, Pam, to help people get onto the NDIS and to really get the plan that they need. We really appreciate all the work you do there.
Thank you.
So,
It's my pleasure.
guys, thanks, Pam. Thanks for your time today. And I'm just going to close by running through some very brief housekeeping with everybody about some of the other services that we provide here at MS. So we've got a wonderful service that many of you will be familiar with, which is MS Connect. It's the gateway to all of our services. There's some great reasons listed here why you might call, but as I mentioned, it is how you access the NDIS and peer support and information about education and employment support, etc. And through MS Connect, you can speak to an MS nurse advisor, an MS expert, a social worker, etc., that can really help you with any questions that you have. We've got a wonderful team of peer support people, and they provide telephone peer support. They will match you with a peer in a similar situation to you who's living well with MS that you can speak with. They provide some really wonderful services. We've got lots of great information on our website, including a symptom management tool called Get Your Act Together that you might be interested to look at. We have employment support services for those of you who are in employment and need support to stay in employment, or are perhaps looking for a new job. We are a registered NDIS provider, so when you do get your NDIS plan and you'd like some services provided, then we might be a service that you might consider using us. And we have different services in different locations. And we've got a wonderful range of education for people with MS, and including a new series of podcasts with lots of great information on there for you to have a listen to. So thank you very much for your time today. Hope you found it really useful. Great to see so many of you online. Our gateway is MS Connect, and you can call 1800 042 138 and get support and information as you need. We'd love it if you can stay on after the webinar to just complete a very short survey. That would be fantastic. Otherwise, we look forward to seeing you all at our next webinar, and take care. Thank you. Bye for now.